Good day, everyone. I'm Bob Ackerman, the Editor-in-Chief of Signal Magazine, and I'd like to welcome you to our Signal Magazine webinar titled, Weather Your Next Cybersecurity Storm with Confidence. Defending against cyber threats is a never-ending challenge in this dynamic environment. Cybersecurity comprises hardware, software, and personnel all working in concert. Yet, when commercial off-the-shelf solutions are installed in an organization's network, the customer assumes the responsibility for their deployment and maintenance. The key is to stay secure while providing always-on access for the right users. In today's webinar, which is sponsored by Spirent Federal Systems, two experts will describe how an organization can validate its security infrastructure, emulate real-world scenarios with the freshest attack information, identify and fix weakest defenses, and update the attack library offline for systems that are off the grid. Now, those of you who have participated in past Signal webinars know about our modern audience interface that offers useful capabilities. At the bottom of the console are a number of widgets, especially the green Resource List widget, which you can use right now to download slides from today's webinar along with data sheets and white papers from Spirent. Most importantly, throughout the presentation, webinar attendees are encouraged to submit questions electronically through the Q&A box on the webinar console. When our experts are finished with their presentation, they will answer as many questions as time permits during this hour-long session. Our first presenter is Michael Jack, Senior Manager of Product Marketing at Spirent. Michael has 20 years experience in the data communications industry, with more than 15 of them in networking test and measurement organizations. At Spirent, he works to define, produce, and deliver cutting-edge applications and security testing solutions for a wide range of customers. Our second presenter is Vladislav Kostomelsky, a managing consultant for security consulting at Spirent. Specializing in the intersection of physical and network security, Vlad largely focuses on satellite systems, SCADA systems supporting the critical infrastructure, and wireless networks. He has worked on DARPA projects, established and led penetration testing teams for Fortune 50 organizations, and participated in countless red team engagements for many commercial and research organizations. So with that, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Michael Jack. Mike?
Great. Thanks, Bob, and thanks everyone for coming today. I'm going to start off the seminar here with a little information as to why there is a need for what we're calling proactive network testing for security. So our ultimate goal is to really educate folks on the proactively securing your defenses before the next cybersecurity storm hits, as the title says. So if you look at what's going on today, you see a lot of different activities in the U.S. government and also other areas in critical infrastructures that are causing major concerns in security. For instance, President Obama is increasing the national cybersecurity budget in 2017 by about $5 billion to over $19 billion of spend for fiscal year 2017. In addition, very recently this month, we now finally have a new U.S. federal cybersecurity chief has been appointed to oversee the overall environments of cybersecurity issues and homeland security associated with cybersecurity threats that are impacting U.S. and other aspects of cybersecurity today. And finally, in more mission-critical environments, if you look at a SANS Institute recent report, you'll see that in almost all vectors of concern, over 30% indicated major areas of infestation, infiltration, and other areas of actual attacks that have occurred in the previous 12 months. So the overall security threats continue to drive the need for what we're calling proactive security testing. And the attacks, generally speaking, are becoming more aggressive. If you look at what's happening to networks, to infrastructures, to businesses and government entities today, you're seeing a lot more consistency in the attacks hitting environments. You can see a variety of statistics, 70% increase in attacks from the standpoint of their size, jumping to over half a terabit of actual DDoS attacks being quantified. That's a huge increase over prior years. Over 274 attacks breached the 100 gig barrier. And that's a tremendous amount of traffic they actually have to mitigate and to stop, as services will be certainly disrupted by attacks of that nature. You're actually seeing attacks well below a gigabit of actual attack traffic causing disruption in most organizations' network today, actually taking networks offline, even when something far less than these major attacks that have breached major networks in USA, France, and of course Great Britain. But USA is the primary attack, worldwide attack center for all cybersecurity threats that are coming in worldwide. So we're also seeing not just the aspect of higher demand and higher throughput of these attacks, we're also seeing security devices taking on new approaches to helping businesses, helping government entities close down and solve breaches before they actually happen. As security devices become more intelligent and actually doing more inspection as traffic is ebbing and flowing inside and outside of networks, things are happening on a more ongoing basis. Here's some information from a number of different customers and vendors of gear that are actually changing the aspects of what's actually being monitored, detected, and deflected. It's not just a question of stopping and preventing DDoS attacks. That's certainly the major aspect of next generation firewalls and specific security devices that are deployed, but also the time for detecting, blocking entities such as malware and other adverse type of traffic that would normally want to be stopped as quickly as possible. What's happening is the compression of time. When these devices see nefarious traffic, they block or sandbox that traffic to see if it actually is something that should be blocked or detected or at least alerted on. And that time to detect is decreasing and decreasing as the devices become more powerful. So these advanced threats, if you will, including advanced malware and other attacks, are getting closer and closer to real-time detection. And it's very important to understand that, because as the detection mechanisms are looking at more traffic, that can have a positive impact on security, but it can also have a negative impact on overall network access and performance. So understanding that ratio between protection and performance is a key criteria in understanding how well a network is secure and how well it can be used by its users. Also, we've seen from IFA Labs, which is an independent testing lab, that when devices are made from vendors, from a variety of folks that are creating a lot of different security devices that are increasing in their coverage of capabilities, antivirus, firewall capabilities, web application, IDS, IPS, and so forth. Typically in their test suites, as far as when they first get the device and run their test suites, they typically see 96% of all devices don't meet all the testing requirements across a wide range of different capabilities. Even on their secondary passive testing, after things are requalified, about 60% don't meet all the specifications that they're set up. It typically takes 2, 4, or more cycles for them to ultimately be certified by this independent entity. So basically that's saying a lot of devices will certainly work, but they're not necessarily going to work out of the box or in first deployment as you would expect. Again, showing the need for more testing in certain areas as it pertains to security, performance, and accuracy. And if you look at some of the challenges when you're looking at security testing, it comes down to a number of different areas. Realism for testing security and applications, what's on the network and what you're trying to secure. A repeatability in that testing, being able to do one test again and again to verify, are you still under the same exposure to vulnerabilities that you were before, or have they been properly updated or put into a reflection mode so you're not actually getting exposed to certain attacks or vulnerabilities. And up-to-date content, and this basically means, are you able to use and test on the application side, the applications that are similar to what users and application flows are done on the application for your network, and attack content. Attacks are always changing, moving, adjusting, and variants. Having an up-to-date database is very important to meet the needs of testing today's devices and today's threats that are coming in. Scale and performance, whether it's a network that's still operating at 100 meg or something that's multi-10 gig or greater than 100 gig, scale and performance is going to be an area of concern, along with being able to automate this, putting something that makes sense, that isn't going to break the bank of time, and you can actually add this to your ongoing security countermeasures and pre-deployment and post-deployment policies in your network infrastructure. And one aspect of this, if you look at from the standpoint of the different types of traffic you put on the wire, is generating a specific amount of load traffic, normalized web, video, voice, and a variety of other traffic, determining what attack traffic going through your network protection devices and security infrastructure might be not blocked, so negative in that sense, what traffic might be blocked from the outside in, and also you might have attacks that are coming from the inside to the outside that your security countermeasures are actually looking for. So it's best to look at devices and capabilities that would be associated for both ingress and egress types of traffic for understanding the model of capabilities and network performance, and also attack deflection and attack detection as well, both upstream and downstream, at a variety of different interface speeds. And that can be 1 gig, 10 gig, 100 gig, or even devices and testing capabilities that are done in the cloud in a virtual instantiation. So one of the aspects of this from Spirent, we actually have a solution called Spirent CyberFlood, and it's an overall platform, very easy to use. It allows for a team testing environment to come into a solution that allows you to articulate tests onto an infrastructure from the application all the way through to the user security testing capabilities. So that includes attacks and malware and a variety of other areas. This multi-user environment is perfect from the standpoint of understanding how well a device or an infrastructure is going to behave on security and load, and how well it's going to perform under adverse and negative conditions in a variety of different test cases. So on the cybersecurity front, you're looking at a variety of different ways of walking through an entire database of attacks that's continually updated. So you have the freshest and most available capabilities for testing new attack elements, malware samples, and a variety of things from the same test, same product on an ongoing basis. From the DDoS testing, as we mentioned before, DDoS attacks that are coming into various sites operate certainly at lower speeds, 1 gig and 10 gig, but also are breaching the 100 gig barrier very quickly. So being able to look at extensible DDoS testing from a volumetric perspective, which is more layer 2, layer 3, and bandwidth exhaustion type attacks, and moving up the stack, protocol type of attacks that are going to be taking over the ability of devices to handle new connections, or even application attacks like web-based attacks and other things that are fundamentally going after the resources of the application, taking on new requests. In addition, malware testing covers a wide range of both command and control type malware elements, which is post-infection testing, as well as binary transfer. What happens when antivirus and other devices are looking for and trying to pinpoint malware that's coming across the line, and are they able to see already existing type of malware items, or if there's a zero-day malware item or a variant of a specific malware element, will it get through or not? So that's another area or another vector that should be looked at. Also, as part of the system is advanced fuzzing. That's being able to look at and model protocol testing on an ongoing basis. So you can verify the robustness of specific protocols on a network infrastructure to find holes that otherwise might not be seen in traditional testing. And in the malware front, there's a wide range of categories that should be looked at from the standpoint of testing configurations. Worms, viruses, Trojans, they all take on very different specificities, and different devices will look at these particular malware elements perhaps in a different way. So making sure that the databases that you're looking at, that you're using in your testing, will be crucial for effective, long-lasting, and ongoing proactive approaches that will keep malware, anti-malware, and other devices in line with what your expectations are and what your security policies are needed for ongoing working aspects of your network infrastructure. Now, when you're doing advanced security testing, it's typically advisable to look at it from the standpoint of understanding how devices work when they're just being attacked. So when anything's happening to the device under duress, you'll understand that it's going to see it or not. But it's also best to mix applications or mix actual load in combination with flooding, malware, or other stateful or stateless attacks that might be under some sort of evasion or other techniques that are trying to hide those attacks from the devices that are meant to protect them. So being able to test by itself or attacks with load gives you the most representative and realistic approach to advanced security testing. Also, being able to test in both directions, outside in and inside out, is realistic in terms of what's happening in networks today. And there's always going to be a point of reference where certain industries and certain other areas are going to need custom attacks that work alongside DDoS or work under themselves. So again, these things are going to measure exactly how well infrastructures are going to put up with these attacks coming in, put up a specific security load, and put up a specific application load.